Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a wonderful day. So as you could tell by the title of this video, you may be surprised, I do have the S word in the title, snow. We could actually be getting a lot of that white stuff flying around the mountains, and even the lower elevations. Cities like Denver could be impacted by this heavy snow, and there could be actually several inches. So definitely a definitely historic event underway. It could be the first named winter storm that the Weather Channel names of the year. We'll have to see if they decide to do that or not, but definitely that would be the earliest storm by far. So let's get into this. By the way, if you are new to this channel, I'm not gonna tell you to subscribe right off the way, but check out the channel. Consider watching the whole video. See if you like it. We just talk about the weather on here. I'm a weather enthusiast. I'm not a meteorologist. Some people think I'm a meteorologist, and I claim to be one. I'm not. I just love the weather, and we have a bunch of weather fans on here, fans of the weather, and that's what we do. If you are a returning viewer, liking the video would be splendid. So let's get into this. This snowstorm was already showing up in the models as of several days, and I made a video about it 2 days ago, and I was definitely doubtful about that snowstorm, whether or not to make a video about it, right? Because if I made a video about a snowstorm in September and it never ended up happening, that would be a bit embarrassing, right? But thankfully, and I did have confidence back then, not as much as I do have now, obviously. It was still a gamble to make a video about it. But despite even, if it didn't come true, here we are. It's looking as if most models are now showing the snow system and record-breaking cold. So definitely a very interesting setup. We start looking at the GFS. This is as of Friday afternoon when I'm recording this video. You can see we have a trough digging into the United States, the northern and kind of the Great Lakes, northern plains, and northeast. This is associated with the storm system that came across southern Canada that brought some rain and showers. Behind that, we get a cool-off. Now, let me tell you, this cool-off is nothing really too significant. The temperatures are nice and chilly, or not really chilly. If you walked outside today in Illinois, Indiana, it just feels like a nice, cool, late September day. Probably the best weather you could ask for. The wind is rustling through the leaves. Just a poetic day, if you will. And that doesn't last for too long. You start getting some of the heat building in, and really just because there's just going to be snow doesn't mean everybody will be in cold air. There's actually going to be record-breaking hot air. The juxtaposition going on with this weather this weekend and week will be just absolutely ridiculous. We could be breaking records in California with record heat and across the Northwest as well, while we have a record-breaking snowstorm occurring a few states away. So even some of the areas that are going to see the heavy snow could be looking at some record-breaking heat. Notice we have a lot of heat across the west, but we have a really, really powerful cold front coming down from Canada, and this is brought by a series of storm systems. We have one right here that is pretty well developed. You can see that it's delivering a powerful, packful punch of cooler air, and this is now extending into Sunday and into early Monday hours. And we have lots of showers developing across the Midwest. This storm is definitely impacting lots of southern Canada more than northern United States, as that's where the vortice is centered. And as we look forward, we see this cold front right here. There's a lot of cold air up in here, and you may not be able to visualize this, but this is late Monday, and I want to just show you how much of this cold air is available. Just very, very cold air. But right as I was talking about the very hot air, look at that. Just the colors are juxtaposing each other at exact opposites. We have 16 to 20 degrees above average Celsius across California, and then 16 to 20 degrees below average across the Colorado, Wyoming area. And for those wondering what's 16 to 20 Celsius in Fahrenheit, that's probably between 30 and 40 degrees below average in terms of Fahrenheit. We could definitely be getting on both sides. So notice this pushes through Montana. The higher elevations in Montana seem to be only getting the snow. But if we move this into Wyoming, you could see a greater area seeing snow. Cities like Cheyenne, maybe even Casper, the capital, will be getting in on some of the snow. And as the GFS moves this into Colorado, you can see cities like Denver, Boulder, Aspen, a lot of the mountains, really most of the mountains, and even some of their lower elevations. Eastern Colorado, I apologize about that sneeze. But I will go over the timing in just a minute, but I just want to quickly show you what the models are doing first. You can see into eastern Colorado, even portions of western Kansas. So not mountains, just plains, but a lot of the cold air is still going to be available. And this even could affect portions of the panhandle of Oklahoma and Texas. So just a ridiculous snowstorm for this time of the year. And as that pushes out, we see the precipitation move into the Midwest and East Coast, where we could be getting lots of precipitation in the form of rain and not snow. Obviously, if we were to see snow across Indiana, Illinois, I would be that would be beyond historic. That would be historic. The earliest snow in Chicago, I think, was 2006, October 12th. And right now it's not even September 12th. So let's go over the timing a bit more carefully. Again, I just want to tell you, because a lot of people are asking me to do the timing more carefully. I will do so because I realize how important that is. Except you also have to realize another important thing. This is just one model run. And this model run may change. And even if it doesn't change, other model runs may not agree with this model run's timing. So this is just one possible solution as to what may be occurring. Now, it doesn't look as if any model is disagreeing on it. For Denver, let's say it's not saying this model is showing the snow in Denver by Tuesday and Wednesday. The European is also showing by Tuesday and Wednesday, except slightly, several hours ahead or behind. So that's definitely still yet to be tuned in. They're not, the European isn't showing snow in Denver across Thursday. It's not that big of a difference. So notice, we see the first storm across southern Canada moving across Minnesota, Wisconsin, UP of Michigan, the mainland land of Michigan, across this late weekend, late Sunday into Monday. And we start seeing the first area of precipitation moving across Montana early Monday. Now, by the time it's late Monday, we start seeing lots of snow showers in the higher elevations and just heavy snow at this point, not even snow showers, and quite a bit of rain across the lower elevations into early Tuesday. And then as we move towards like the mid-morning hours of Tuesday, this moves into Wyoming, the higher elevations and the lower elevations, and the cold air catches up to this cool band, to this precipitation band. And at the beginning, it's the cold air is a bit behind, which is why there is a bit more limited snow in Montana versus Wyoming. And notice that we see a much more widespread snow early Tuesday morning and into mid Tuesday morning. We start seeing the rain band develop across Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, into Illinois, and stretching, all the way into Erie, Pennsylvania. And as we push this into late Tuesday, early Wednesday, we see a lot of heavy snow occurring across Colorado, southeastern Wyoming continuing, and into Kansas and the panhandle of Oklahoma and Texas into the late Tuesday and early Wednesday. So the snow itself will be relatively quick moving, but it will be falling fast, which is why it could even possibly accumulate on the roads, which usually when it's an early snow event and it's cold, the roads are still warm. I mean, we could be looking at 90s a few days before this event, but the snow will be falling at very, very, very intense rates. Thunder is pretty much likely with this storm, with this snow, and that they could still overcome the warm pavement temperatures, and we could be looking at quite a bit of snow across Colorado, falling very rapidly. Obviously, the damage to the crops will be just unthinkable. My heart goes out to all of those folks. People may be looking at this and saying, oh, it's a snowstorm in Colorado, Wyoming. This isn't that big of a deal. No, it's a huge deal. The crops, there are crops growing in Colorado, despite what many people think it's just a state of mountains. Kansas, western Kansas, there are crops. Colorado, this will just destroy that quite significantly. And then obviously trees with foliage are just going to get absolutely destroyed by the snow. The branches are going to be breaking, so this is just really a bad event. And thankfully the snow doesn't extend out into more of the plains, but the storm then becomes very slow moving. You can see we see several waves of rain and showers across the Midwest, definitely some flooding. And again, look at that. Northeast will also get impacted by this. They're not going to get away from this. You can see Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, upstate New York, really the whole state of New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and into southeastern Canada. After that, things seem to clear out, and I didn't go over the timing of the rain because that still may be changed quite significantly. The snow is, it's closer out in time, so the details are more refined. Let's take a look at the total snowfall. The total snowfall accumulations are gonna be pretty drastic. You could see 13, 14, 15 inches of snow possible across the higher elevations. Cities like Denver, they could be getting into the 6-inch range, but the snow will be a bit iffy based on the temperatures. Based on the environmental conditions, or atmospheric conditions, sometimes snow could fall at 1 degree, 33 degrees, and then at 34 it could be already raining. And based on what it looks like, Colorado will definitely be getting at least 1 to 2 inches, but sorry, not Colorado. Denver could be getting at least 1 to 2 inches, but definitely more could be on its way. And then you could see even portions of Panhandle of Oklahoma and Texas, several inches. And look at that, even band in western Kansas, up to 8, 9 inches of snow. Let's look at the total accumulated precipitation. And I want to point one thing out. This snow will have a good benefit to those mountains. Even though it's a bad timing, crops will be destroyed, damaged, trees, infrastructure, power outages. The good thing about this is that it will bring some much needed rain to those areas. Now, it would be better if this came in the form of rain and it was more further towards the west, but it's still relatively good precipitation that they need. Not going to break the drought, but it definitely will, I guess, provide a certain amount of relief. The relief will be minimal, but it definitely will be there. And you can see the precipitation across the Great Lakes, Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, Missouri, and into portions of Michigan, and even just generally the east. Quite a bit of rain, and this is going to be falling in the next week or two. So this image that I have pulled up here, so definitely some relief. It's been pretty dry. Just this year has been dry for just about everyone, excluding the south and the southeast. So they could take any rain they would want. I know here the soil in my garden is extremely cracked. I could put my whole hand into some of the cracks, and they are definitely. We definitely need some rain. Let's take a look at the European model, high-res model. This model is a bit different. It runs out only to 240 hours, but thankfully it is in pretty good agreement with the GFS this time around. You can see it puts out this system a bit further ahead of the cold front band. If you recall, the GFS connects to these two systems a bit more. But notice by Sunday we start seeing lots of rain again developing across southern Canada, Minnesota. We see this precipitation move into Montana and meet up with the cold air. We start seeing snow across the higher elevations. The European model takes a lot of it in Wyoming. You can see lots of snow, widespread snow. Almost everyone in Wyoming will probably see snowflakes flying. And into Colorado, it does deliver quite a bit of snow, but it seems as if the European is more trending towards Wyoming rather than Colorado, while the GFS is trending more snow towards Colorado rather than Wyoming. But definitely still plenty of areas in Colorado that will see some heavy snow. And notice there's a bigger disconnect with the European. It doesn't move out into the plains with heavy rain as much as the GFS does. Let's take a look at the total snowfall accumulations. It just feels weird to be talking about snowfall in September across cities that, usually don't see it in September. We see heavy snow across Montana, definitely more than what the GFS shows, but you could see up to 2 feet. And then it focuses a lot more snow across Wyoming rather than Colorado. Portions of the mountains in Colorado definitely will be seeing the snow, but areas, in eastern Colorado and western Kansas don't have a chance of seeing it according to the European. To be honest with you, I would say this is definitely, I would agree more with the European because of the fact that the European was the first one to show the storm in the modeling runs before the GFS, and it has the GFS has followed in its footsteps, and I think the European has more control over this. But you can see, regardless, many areas across Wyoming where there are crops, you could be seeing, up to a foot of snow. Definitely not good news, but we'll just have to stick with what we have. For detailed updates, go to the National Weather Service. They haven't put up any watches or warnings yet. It is still a bit out and ahead of time, but again, they will start talking more and more about this as it moves towards the Monday, Tuesday timeframe. So definitely stay tuned. Keep an eye to the sky and the radar. Keep your garden safe. And if you have crops or gentle cacti growing outside in containers, make sure to bring them indoors, because while this may be bringing snow to a limited area, the temperatures will be pretty cold in a much larger area. That was one thing I forgot to show. I wanted to quickly show the temperatures. Probably will be making a separate video just about the temperatures, but I could quickly give you a rundown in the last 30 seconds of this video. You could see that as of this weekend, we could be, some of these areas seeing snow will be in the 90s and 80s, which makes this such a obscure event. I mean, look at that, California and New Mexico and Arizona, well into the hundreds. And there we have that very cold air moving in. You could see widespread 30s, 20s. So maybe the more hardy crops won't frost, but definitely, tomatoes, potatoes will all be toasted. And definitely a rare event. But thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video, consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll catch you all guys in the next video, which will probably be today in the afternoon, about the temperature and the pattern. But about the snowstorm, I will be uploading more videos. So see you guys in the next episode.